In this lecture video, we will talk about model-driven engineering. Model-driven engineering is an approach to software development where models, rather than programs, are the principal outputs of the development process. The programs that execute on a hardware or software platform are generated automatically from these models. So models are basically designed in such a way that you can derive or you can use them to generate programs directly or with minor modifications. This raises the level of abstraction in software engineering. So now engineers no longer have to be concerned with programming language details or the specifics of execution platforms. They can only use models, and then you can use appropriate translators to translate these models into programs in languages or platforms of your choice. Model driven engineering has its roots in model driven architecture or MDA. Model driven architecture or MDA focuses on the design and implementation stages of software development, whereas MDE, model driven engineering, is concerned with all aspects of the software engineering process. Now, model based engineering is still at an early stage of development, and it is unclear whether or not it will have a significant effect on software engineering practices. The main arguments for and against MDE are listed below. The argument for MDE: model based engineering allows engineers to think about systems at a high level of abstraction without having concern for the details of their implementation. This reduces the likelihood of errors, speeds up design and implementation, allows for creation of reusable platform independent models, and by using powerful tools, system implementations can be generated for different platforms using the same model. Therefore, to adapt the system to some new platform technology, it is only necessary to write a translator for that platform. So when this is available, all platform independent models can be rapidly rehosted to a new platform. What they mean to say is you have the model designed so well that it can be easily converted to any code. Suppose you want the model to be converted into a code written in Java, then you have an appropriate Java translator. Suppose you want to convert the model into a code for C++, then you have a translator for the same. And suppose you want to use the same model to convert or write a code in C Sharp, maybe you can use a .NET Platform translator. So the model is the same, it is a high level model, and then based on which platform you want to write the implementation for, you can write a simple translator which will effectively translate the model into a code on the desired platform or desired language. Now, the argument against MDE is that models are a good way of facilitating discussions about a software design. However, it does not always follow that the abstractions that are supported by the model are the right abstractions for implementation. So you may create an informal design model, but then when you go on to implement the system using the off-shelf configuration package, you may realize that all the abstractions or assumptions made by the model may not be so easy to implement directly. Furthermore, the arguments for platform independence are only valid for a large and a long lifetime system where the platforms become obsolete during a system's lifetime. However, for this class of systems, we know that implementation is not the major problem. We have to focus more on requirements engineering, security, dependability, integration with legacy system, testing, and so on. So, what is not in favor of MDE is that models serve the purpose of facilitating discussions and getting more insight on what kind of product we want to develop, and cannot be so easily or directly translated into code. So let's look at model driven architecture. So model driven architecture is a model focused approach to design and implementation that uses a subset of UML models to describe a system. So here models at different levels of abstraction are created, and MDA or model driven architecture recommends three types of abstract system models that should be provided. The first model that is going to be provided or that is recommended by MDA is called as the CIM, or the computation independent model. So let's define what computation independent model or CIM is. So as the name suggests, CIM that models the important, it models the important domain abstractions of the system. So they are called as domain models because you can have a CIM for every perspective or for every view of a particular system. That means the same system can have multiple CIMs depicting different perspectives or different views of the same system. Let me give you an example. Suppose you want to identify security abstractions as an asset, then you can have a CIM particularly defining the security aspects, or you can have a security CIM showing the security domain of the system. Suppose you want to talk about patient records having patients' personal information in the same system, in the same mental health care system, then you can have a separate CIM which will take care of patient records, logging information, consultations, and so on. So you can see for the same system, every system can have multiple perspectives or different aspects, and for every aspect of the system or for every subdomain of the system, you can have a separate CIM or computation independent model. The second type of model is PIM, which is platform independent model. So a PIM models the operation of the system without reference to implementation. So as the name says, platform independent means it's independent of any implementation language or platform. You're designing a model without paying attention to how it is going to be implemented. So such kind of a model is called as PIM, or platform independent model. So the PIM is usually described using UML models that show the static system structure and how the system responds to external or internal events. Now, the third kind of model is platform specific models. So these are transformations of the platform independent models. That is, from the platform independent model, which is a general model which can be translated to a programming language of your choice. From this, for every programming language you want to generate the code, you have to have a platform specific model. So there might be multiple layers of PSM, with each layer adding some platform specific detail and so on. So if you look at the diagram here, you can see the transformations between these models that may be defined or applied automatically by software tool. So you have the computation independent model which goes to the translator, and the translator also receives input about domain specific guidelines, because you will have one computation independent model or one CIM for a particular domain, and you may have any other user input. So from this you can translate to platform independent model, which shows you the entire design of the system. And from the platform independent model, you can define a platform specific model. You have appropriate translators in place which take input of platform specific rules. And from the platform specific model, you can directly write or generate executable code for that one particular platform. So if you have to generate the same, suppose this platform independent model will give you the design. If you want to generate using the same model, if you want to generate two codes, say one in Java and one in C++, then you may have one platform specific model for Java and one platform specific model for C++. And then these models, with the help of translators, will allow you to generate executable code in those specific languages. So this diagram actually shows you the different transformations that can happen using MDA or model driven architecture. So in this diagram, you can see multiple platform specific models using the same thing. So you can see we start with platform independent model, and then we go to executable code on platform specific model. So here you have the platform independent model, which shows you the design of the system irrespective of the platform in which you're going to implement it. That's why it's called as the platform independent model. Now, suppose you want to generate a Java program, then you can use a J2EE translator to develop a J2EE specific model. This is a platform specific model because it is J2EE. I've used a J2EE specific model. Now, using this model, first you've used a translator to develop the specific model, platform specific model, and then the platform specific model is given to the code generator, the Java code generator, because I want to generate a Java program. Now, I can use the same platform independent model of a system design to generate a C# program. So what do I do here? In that case, this arrow should be pointing downwards, not upwards. In this case, you should have a .NET translator because you want to generate a C# code, and then using this .NET translator, you build a platform specific .NET model and use this platform specific .NET model to generate the C# code generator. Use the generator to generate your C# program. So this is model driven architecture where you have different types of model recommendations, and then you can transform or translate from different platforms, from a very platform independent model to writing or automatically generating platform specific codes. The fundamental notion behind this model driven engineering is that completely automated transformation of models to code should be possible. That is, given a model, given a platform independent model or a generic model, you should be able to automatically generate code for one specific platform or one specific programming language using platform specific models and translators. So to achieve this, you should be able to construct graphical models whose semantics are well defined. Otherwise, you will not be able to automatically translate the models to code. You will also need a way of adding information to graphical models about the ways in which the operations defined in the model have to be implemented and so on. So to enable this, that is to have a rich set of information, or to have or use graphical models where semantics are clearly defined, we have a subset of UML2 called as executable UML, or also known as XUML. So UML was actually designed as a language for supporting and documenting software design. Now we want, the software design is nothing but building models. Now we want the models themselves to automatically generate code. But UML was not designed to handle this because it's a design language, not a programming language. So the designers of UML were absolutely not concerned with the implementations of specific implementation platforms or languages. Now, to enable this automatic or transformation or automatic generation of code of a particular language given a very generic model, what has happened is UML, the number of model types have been dramatically reduced to just 3 key model types. So you have to use one of these 3 key model types or these 3 key model types, which will make code generation relatively easier and automated. The first model type defined by executable UML or XUML. These are the models. When you use these models, they can be used to generate code automatically. So the first kind of UML model or XUML model is the domain models. So domain models identify the principal concerns in the system. So these are defined using UML class diagrams. So the class diagrams will help you define objects, their attributes, associations, operations, links, and so on. So they identify the principal entities in the system. Next is class models in particular, in which explicitly the classes are defined along with their attributes and operations. And lastly, you have state models, in which a state diagram will be associated with each class, and the state diagram will be used to describe the life cycle of the class or to describe how the system will transition from one state to the other and finally reach the end state given the various triggers. So this is about model driven architecture and model driven engineering in particular. So in this lecture video, we have learned what is model driven engineering and what is why is it beneficial, especially for hiding details, or it provides a high level of abstraction, allowing engineers to focus on design rather than in which implementation language or platform you're going to generate the code. And it is basically about having models which are well defined with well defined semantics and graphical information, so that you can directly use this models to generate code using platform specific models to generate code in a particular language. So we have seen the three different models, that is the computation independent model which documents the different domains of the system, platform independent model which will actually give you an entire overview of the system without being concerned about implementation. And from the platform independent model, you can develop a platform specific model and use this platform specific model to generate code in a particular language or particular platform.